joy to watch him. Wearing the suit, he could pick up a grown man with one hand, run as fast as a zebra. Then he told me he was too old to carry the mantle of Panther. He would pass it to me and just be king.
He told me he was too fat to fit the suit.
I told him not to speak at the UN. He taught me not to trust the outside world. Why did he change his views?
Time. It has a way of making you look back on the things that you have done.
Do you often look back at your time as a war dog?
No. The outside world is too unpredictable for an old man like me.
Agent Ross.
Your Highness. Okoye. Ayo, Nikki.
Please give us a second.
Listen, it's not my place to say, but man, I really don't think you should do this. What you guys have is going to scare a lot of people in that room. They're going to come after you.
Yes, but I will no longer rule out of fear. Not ours or anyone else's.
God damn it. Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Well, okay. I'll do my best to keep them off your back.
I will hold you to that, Everett.
I'll see you in there. Oh, T'Challa. Amatam Sankla Nancy Kalelo?
It was close. It was close.
Don't laugh, I practiced that.
Gabriela. Everett. Gabriela.
Hurry, Prince. Don't let the fishmonger beat you. Not a chance.
Come forward.
Go.
You and Nakia are not to play in the catacombs, T'Challa.
I'm sorry, Baba. What is wrong, Baba?
I was forced to make a difficult choice today.
You told me that every choice a king makes is difficult.
True. But some choices are harder than others.
I'm sure you did what is right for Wakanda. You always do. You are a great king, Baba. And that is why you will always reign.
Always? But what about when I get old and gray and past comes to carry me off to the ancestors?
But then I'll be Panther. Now, beat them back with my Panther claws, and you'll live forever.
So here's a scene that I was incredibly proud of as a director, but it just didn't work inside of the confines of our film. It's a scene between the characters Okoye and Wakabi, and in making the scene, it was the intention for the audience to really realize that Okoye and Wakabi were husband and wife. So they kind of had a confrontation or like argument about where Wakanda was going to go after T'Challa's death. In the tribal council room. It was a scene with the incredible performances from Denai Guerrero and Daniel Kaluuya, but it just didn't work in the film. But I'm really excited for folks to see it anyway.
Okoye. T'Challa ebungumhlobo ke akoyam. was.
You didn't seem to have a problem when he was thrown from the force.
It was the king's challenge, he lost.
You wanted him to lose!
He was not fit to lead. T'Challa taught me to my face right here that he'll bring Claw back. Did he do it?
He had him. N'Jaka stole him from our...
I don't care! Claw stole from us! He murdered my mother and father! 30 years there's been no justice, and T'Challa swore to bring him back. Not take him to the UN, not take him to the CIA, but bring him here to us. Like a real king.
This is what you would have me leave the Dora for. To bring our children into this world where they become conquerors.
Yes. Our children will be leaders of a truly free world. Not just a tiny country where we have to hide everything that makes us great. There will be war and death. But in the end, it will be beautiful. And Wakanda will stand tall.
Female leadership is very prominent. I love the idea of society with so much tradition and so much respect for women.
These female characters are incredibly important to T'Challa and important to the country of Wakanda.
T'Challa's circle is filled with women, and his advisors are also women. The writers put women at the forefront. It's brilliant.
My son, it is your time. I play out one of my dreams to show an African-American woman in this light as the queen, as the mother.
Ramonda is the person that reassures T'Challa that he's ready.
Wakanda forever! Wakanda forever!
Being a mother myself, I understand the relationship, knowing their strength, their weaknesses, trying to support him.
I think that that's a really exciting thing to see as a proud African woman.
She brings a certain gravitas, a certain history to the position. And her relationship with both T'Challa and Shuri felt like a real family.
I'm here with my son, T'Challa.
We wanted to give you some really cool, heady designs and heady sci-fi ideas coming out of the technology of Wakanda.
I really wanted to be thoughtful about where it had come from and take the ideas from Kirby and just bring them into the 20th century. Things like the aircrafts that we could pull out and be specific about. We didn't want it to be like a spaceship because you're not in space. But we wanted it to feel like a very luxurious aircraft that has all of the bells and whistles that vibranium can give it.
Remote access Kimoyo beads. Updated to interface directly with my send table.
Kimoyo beads are like the Wakandan version of a cell phone.
Where is T'Challa? His Kimoyo beads have been switched off.
Computer, all in one.
This will stabilize him for now.
In Black Panther mythology, the Dora Milaje are somewhat like the Navy SEALs. They're the best fighters in Wakanda, and they're all women.
We had to find a group of girls that embodied what Marvel and Ryan was looking for.
I called it Finding Dora. We spent months trying to locate and come down to our final Dora. We started looking into the fight world, the track and field world, and the dancing world.
It's so interesting to bring all these women together to create an army. We all have to shave our heads. So of course, instantly a sisterhood swarm when everyone has a shaved head.
Past willing, this will go quickly and I can get this ridiculous thing off my head.
Stunt training is so great because you have to learn a way of combat and a way of movement that is really going to look and feel like someone who knows what the heck they're doing. I got you.
We would do stunt training every day with the girls who were playing the Doras. It was tough, it was hard.
We're able to find a beautiful grace in these women and also a ferocity.
Nakia.
style of fighting is like by any means necessary.
We're teaching how to throw guys like twice your size. That's it. Now swing.
So I like to start movies out, projects out with like a question that I need to try to find an answer to. You know, one was the concept of what does it mean to be African. You know, and like one of the first things I said to Ned, I was like, yo, I gotta go to the continent. You know, because I haven't been yet. I had a feeling that, you know, in trying to ground Wakanda in the real world, the same way that the MCU is grounded in the real world and a lot of your other stories, you know, I would need to kind of get there, you know what I mean, and see it for myself. But I was also interested in this idea, which has been explored in the comics. If Wakanda existed, you know, if somebody told me, hey, yo, Wakanda's been here this whole time,
right?
How would that make me feel?
Like Killmonger.
Yeah, you know, it's just that idea of wait, so this place has been there, but all of these things have been happening, you know, and nothing's been done about it. You know, that's a conflict that becomes very interesting. So the other thing we got into was this idea of am I my brother's keeper? You know, which is the question, you know, or do you even see people as your brother? You know what I mean? Like if you, you know, in this idea of self-preservation and what that means for people who are born outside of those lines. Something that got in a litany of stuff that we found to be relevant to the time, you know, colonization, borders, identity, the idea and the culture of the African-American versus, you know, existing in direct conflict with the culture of the African. So that's when we started to get into some rich stuff to mine. That's when we started to get exciting.
Hi, I'm Ryan Coogler, director of Black Panther. It was important to me to bring Marvel's first African-American superhero to life on the big screen because I grew up as a comic book fan, later became a fan of comic book movies once they started being made. But I always wanted to see characters who looked more like me, more like my family, more like my friends. And that was kind of how I was introduced to the Black Panther in the first place. He's held a special place in my heart ever since. So when the opportunity came to make this film, I kind of jumped at it. One of the biggest things for me with the film was really looking at the theme of what it means to be African. It was a thing that I was trying to answer for myself, not just as an artist, but as a person. But we think that it's a film that's about humanity overall, that people will be able to connect with regardless of where they're from or what their heritage is. Something that's present in the comic books that we really wanted to make sure that we highlighted in the film, or have really amazing female characters that are strong and have operate positions in society. You know, you have Ramonda, the Queen Mother of Wakanda, Shuri, our lead scientist, Nakia, the international spy, Okoye, the head of the Dora Milaje. And so we were able to make a society that functioned maybe in a way that we wish society could. At the heart of Black Panther, it's really about a man who's accepting his role in society, coming into his own. It's a film about family, it's a film about responsibility, about culture, but at the end of the day, it's a film about what it means to be human. Thanks for watching, and I really hope that you guys all enjoy the film.
Ryan was really particular about how to tell the story of Wakanda.
Actually, going to Africa, going to the continent, was extremely important for us because that's where, you know, the heart of the narrative takes place.
Ryan is a super visual person. He had gone to write. He was in Africa, and it really started with him just sending me pictures. Pictures of, like, the bells on people's ankles, pictures of shells, what people were wearing, you know, different masks. So it was just us going back and forth.
I knew it was something that we could recreate from a place of fantasy, a place of African culture, and a place of imagination.
The world is changing. The outside world is catching up. And soon, it will be the conquerors or the conquered.
Wakanda is not necessarily a homogenous group of people. There are different tribes with different points of view. And each tribe have their own agendas.
So now we get into the sort of geopolitics of Wakanda.
There are people that don't believe that Wakanda should even be out in the world.
The less people know about Wakanda, the better, from their perspective, which is becoming more and more challenging in this day and age.
If the world ever were to find out what they have both in the natural resources and technology, all of a sudden, they're gonna be under the spotlight. And then what happens? Then how do you rule that nation?
For hundreds of years now, we've been living outside of the popular society. But now Wakanda is potentially gonna succumb to like globalization and reach out to the outside world.
Hey, yo, this yours?
The story is very relevant. We need a greater understanding about each other. We need to bring some life back to the differences in our cultures because we all really do live here and we all live here together.
In the 1970s, the first Black Panther surgery was being done. There weren't obviously a lot of black characters. Pop culture was not where it is now, as you guys are doing this film. I wish we had the backing in terms of people believing in the project. They felt they were giving me a book that was going to die. The Black Panther wasn't an important character, but the reason that we got to do what we did was because they didn't have time to read those books. They caught on to it, I think, about 3-4 issues in, and then say, hey, wait a minute, but it was too late.
Right.
It's already a novel, and then I could do it.
What made it unique was just the idea at the time. Not only was this a black superhero, and it was kind of a shock when he pulls off his mask and reveals himself to be an African king, but he's also rich, very smart, the king of a kingdom, and he single-handedly defeats Marvel's premier family group, the Fantastic Four. And this was all being done and delivered to a largely white and male audience at the time. So it was kind of a shockwave, in a sense, and delivered at a time of civil unrest during the growth of the civil rights movement. And it just showed what a progressive thinker Stan was and still is to this day.